All right. So that's all the games except for our games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go with the Browns and Lions because I know that we're going to spend quite a bit of time on yours considering your opponent this week.
We might not spend a whole bunch of time. I don't know.
All right.
We'll see.
Well, we're still going to go Browns Lions. Browns coming off an absolute ass beating. The game was actually turned off of TV and turned to a more competitive game. It was so fucking bad last week against the Patriots. I didn't want to watch it anymore. I was fucking.
I thought they looked good on like their first drive or so.
First drive was great because we ran the ball. We were efficient. We had a balanced offense, and we looked really, really good. And then it all went to shit. We got away from the run. We were a very one-dimensional team, and we have a quarterback who is banged up, has not played up to the potential that he showed last year. I am worried about Baker. I am starting to get to that point where it's like, man, is Baker the guy? I have a couple of comps, though, that make me a little less concerned in the fact that he's oft injured. But before that, the Browns are going to win this game, and they're going to win it handily. And it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback because this fucking guy is back this week. This is the team. It does not matter who's playing at quarterback if Nick Chubb is in the backfield. He is the best pure runner in all of football. He has shown it in numerous ways. He has missed several games, still the number 3 rusher in the league. Highest yards per carry at 6 yards per carry. He is going to absolutely run all over this Lions defense, and this Lions offense is not very good. They're going to be missing their starting quarterback in Jared Goff. I mean, maybe that's a good thing based on some of the things Goff has done this year, but the Lions are not going to get their first win here against the Browns. They're not going 0-17 because they were able to get a tie last week with the Steelers, but the Browns are going to absolutely run away with this game. I don't know that we will put up a ton of points, but I could see this being a 24-7 type game because the Lions, I don't believe, are going to score very much. That Browns defense had their asses handed to them last week. There were complaints by the players that they didn't make adjustments. Myles Garrett was very vocal about it. There was a conversation between Myles and Stefanski and our defensive coordinator, Joe Woods. They're going to correct that. They're going to come out. They're going to get a win, get us back over 500, and we will see what happens the following week when we take on the Baltimore Ravens in a absolutely fucking huge matchup for our potential chances at making the playoffs. But this is a get-right game for the Browns.
Yeah. The line's Cleveland minus 12.5. That's a big line. But
I did not take the spread.
You are looking at the Lions, right? So they're not very good. We know this. Jared Goff, doubtful, not going to play, which means second stringer Tim Boyle is probably going to play. I wish that they would play the third stringer. I like the third stringer better. Tim Boyle, or excuse me, not Tim Boyle, David Blau.
Blau.
Is David Blau out of Purdue. Blau and looked pretty decent when he's filled in for Stafford and stuff in the past. Like I said, I like him better than Tim Boyle. Doesn't really matter. Lions are not a very good team. Goff isn't a very good quarterback, but he's better than the alternatives. And like you said, Chubb is back for the Browns. Playing in Cleveland, this is one of those get-right games. I definitely see them winning handily. 12.5 is a very large spread.
I did not take the spread because the Browns did not. They looked fucking terrible, so I could not jump onto the spread.
I'd be more titillated if it was like 9.5, 10, and I probably would be leaning towards that. The 12.5 is rough for me to take, but I've definitely got the Browns winning this game.
Yeah, me too. So talking about those kind of comps and, me being worried about Baker. So Baker's career is very reminiscent of a guy who ended up being, will eventually end up being a Hall of Famer. Him and Drew Brees are unbelievably similar in their career tracks and what is happening to them. So they are almost identical in height. They put on the same kinds of numbers at the combine. They're both known for being incredibly accurate. When I think of accurate quarterbacks, the first guy that comes to mind is Drew Brees. When I think about Baker prior to this year as a guy who fits balls in the windows that the other quarterbacks don't fit him into. He's incredibly accurate with the ball. I think his injuries this year have hurt him. So in Drew Brees' first year and in Baker's first year, they came out, gave a boost to their team, performed pretty well. Baker had better numbers, but Drew Brees did not play bad. Year 2, there is a regression on both of these guys. Picks are up, yards are down, touchdowns are down. Year 3, Drew Brees leads the Chargers to the playoffs. Year 3, Baker leads the Browns to the playoffs. He gets a win. Year 4, Drew Brees early in the season goes to recover a fumble, dives down, tears his labrum in his throwing shoulder. He is out. Baker Mayfield trying to make a tackle this year on an interception, tears his labrum in his non-throwing shoulder. This is so eerily similar on the things that have happened. Year 5, Drew Brees comes out, performs pretty good, does not receive a contract extension. Eventually goes on to the Saints, becomes Drew Brees that we all know and remember, and is now a future Hall of Famer. Baker Mayfield, his fifth year has been picked up. We will see if he gets that contract extension. If he does not, it scares the ever-living shit out of me that we are literally seeing another Drew Brees scenario where we let a guy go, he gets somewhere else, the guy works really well with him, and we see Baker absolutely take off. I want Baker to succeed so bad, but it hasn't been great this year. But I can't blame it all on Baker. That's some of the injuries. We have our starting right tackle. He is out. He's all pro. We have a backup guard starting at right tackle. Jedrick Wills has been banged up all year. Our left tackle with an ankle. So protection hasn't been great. It's just we need a boost. We need something. It's great to have Nick Chubb back because this is a game we're absolutely going to win because we can win on the legs of Nick Chubb. But those things that are so similar between Drew Brees and Baker Mayfield it's crazy. Now, I'm not saying that Baker's going to become Drew Brees. I think Drew Brees is unbelievable. But the similarities are there, and it scares the shit out of me that he's going to go somewhere else and succeed.
I've never heard that comp before of Brees and Baker Mayfield, and I never thought I would have, to be completely honest. Now, what you're putting out there as far as like historical timelines of these things happen and blah, 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 those definitely line up for me. I never thought of Baker as being like one of those uber accurate quarterbacks.
That was the thing that everybody talked about when he was coming out in the draft, is that he's supremely accurate with the ball.
All right. I feel like he's a little bit more of a wild card with the way that he plays versus Brees. Brees is more conservative and stuff like that. I'll give you credit for that research and understanding that stuff between Brees and Baker. That's something that I had never really thought about. I still don't know that I would give a comparison there personally. However, I would be absolutely scared if I was the Browns and I got rid of Baker and I didn't lock him up long term. I like Baker a lot. I like him coming out in the draft. I like him for your team. I like his moxie. This is a down year.
It is.
But we've talked about this earlier in the week. He's injured as fuck.
Yeah.
We were hoping to see a progression from him this year to really earn him that contract. But he's banged up as fuck.
Most banged up he's ever been in his life. His direct quote from him.
And so if you get him right and he's healthy, I think we are seeing a real good year out of him. With all these injuries to him and to the team and stuff like that, it's rough. And if you use that as a basis to walk away and move on to something else, you don't know what you're getting out of another quarterback.
Fucking crapshoot, and Cleveland has been terrible about picking them.
Yeah, and I'm not saying at all that Cleveland couldn't find a better quarterback. There's better quarterbacks than Baker Mayfield. Yeah. Not that Baker Mayfield isn't good, but there's better quarterbacks out there. We're going to see better quarterbacks get drafted in the coming years. We're going to see better free agent quarterbacks come available than Baker. But you don't get rid of a known commodity where he is average above average and with potential to go higher for the unknown. They absolutely should keep him around. Now, the money is going to be where makes the difference.
Is, yeah. I think he actually does not get a contract until next year when he's healthy. He's going to probably play his fifth-year option, and then they will.
If he really wants to make bank and he believes in himself, I think a short-term deal is where he should go.
Another 2-year deal. He fucking takes what, 25,
a
30
two
million?
a 2 or 3 year deal at most. Like, it would do him good to do like a 3-year deal now that covers like this season and the next 2 years, where he can get a decent chunk of money. He can get paid like one of those top 10 NFL quarterbacks, but a team's not having to commit their absolute future to him.
Right.
And then he can ball out and he can show, hey, this is what this is what I am. And that's when he'll end up making bank. If he believes in himself, which a player
By all
should.
accounts, he does.
A player should, that would be where he can make his nut.
Yeah,
is doing that sort of a route. Especially after a year. And I mean, the negotiations for him are going to be more difficult because this year he has not been as good, but part of that is injuries. And so he's got to now prove himself again. He's a guy that has that chip on his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
I am okay. He should add this chip, run with this chip, and fucking ball out and earn yourself some big money here going forward. Yeah. If you try to leverage yourself for a giant contract right now, it's not the best spot to negotiate.
No, he's in a terrible spot to negotiate.
Yeah. So I'd like to see him stay there. It's a real interesting comparison with Breeze. I would never thought that. Yeah. But I mean, it is correct with the labor and stuff like that.
They line up, man.
All right. Well, we both got the Browns winning this one.
We do. The Lions suck.
Yep. And that's what our games for the week.
No, we got one more. Big time matchup in the NFC North.
Yeah. It's our rivalry game.
Yeah.
First game of the year, Vikings versus Packers. Big rivalry game. I always get real fired up for this, and I got to be honest, I'm not as fired up as I normally am, but I'm still fucking fired up. Look, the line right now on ESPN is Green Bay -1.
That's a very close line.
I expected this line to be much wider.
Me
because
too.
Who in national sports media doesn't love the Green Bay Packers? Who in the national sports media doesn't love Aaron Rodgers?
People who are vaccinated.
And I don't give a friggin' fuck. This game's being played in Minneapolis indoors. We have had Aaron Rodgers' number since playing him in US Bank Stadium. We get the sacks on him. The offense is running with A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon's a big back, but he ain't no Aaron Jones. Everson Griffin gets himself 3 sacks this game. Vikings easily cover the -1 from Green Bay. Last week we win versus the Chargers, who I think are a very good team. For whatever reason, they've not been playing as well as they should have. That's it's whatever. The Vikings had a fantastic game plan on defense for that, even though their defense still allowed the Chargers to put up decent numbers statistically. Their game plan was very well suited to play Herbert in that offense. The Vikings know this Packers team. Zimmer's going to have them prepared for this game. We actually started to see the offense get more aggressive finally last game. Nowhere near as aggressive as I would like to see, but they start to get more aggressive. All right, when Justin Jefferson gets a large majority share of the passing targets, I believe it's something like once he gets 7 targets, not necessarily catches, 7 targets, the Vikings have won every game ever since he's been there. Obviously, last year's his first year. But if he gets 7 targets or more, I believe they are 100% win rate. Wow. If we continue to feed the ball to JJ, continue to feed the ball to Adam Thielen, Conklin, we can take over. We can that aggressiveness on offense, we can compete with any defense in the league, in my opinion, if we are aggressive on offense. And if we carry the little bit that we did last week and expand upon it into this week, I think we got a very good shot at beating the Packers. The homer in me is going to say, yeah, we easily blow out this spread, the Vikings +1.
Well, if you guys are plus, all you got to do is take them on if you got them winning, I mean,
I got us winning outright, but if I was just looking at the bets, Viking +1, as a homer, I'm absolutely taking that. Now, as a non-homer, I completely understand if you don't want to bet for my Vikings, and I love being the underdog. I don't give a fuck. This is our biggest rivalry game. This is the first time that we're playing the Packers this year. It is at home in the bank. I got the Vikings winning this one. It's not. It is a homer pick, 100%. I'm fucking perfectly fine saying that because if I was trying to be objective, I would say Aaron Rodgers is back from COVID. He looked a little bit rusty last week. He gets it figured out this week. I don't give a shit. I'm going with my homer pick.
All right.
We're going to get the pressure on him. Even without Danielle Hunter, we are still continuing to get that pressure on the quarterback, regardless of who we're playing. We game planned extremely well against Lamar Jackson. Mike Zimmer knows his back against the wall, so he is game planning his fucking nuts off. He is allowing Kubiak to open up the offense a little bit more and shy away from the run game as much and get more into that passing game, get those elite wide receivers involved. And I feel like he's going to say, hey, if we lose to the Packers, this is it for my career here in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Well, I'm already on the chopping block. And this game is huge to the fans. It's huge to ownership. We have to fucking throttle these guys. Open up my offense. Use the weapons that we have, Kubiak. Go for it. I feel like we are going to come out gunslinging that we will win by at least 7.
Ooh, that is big. So I was on your Vikings last week. I was big on your Vikings last week. I really liked them in that game to cover. I was just short of saying that they were going to win, but I did have them on the cover. I do think your Vikings team is very good, but I did not pick them this week. And it's not because Aaron's back. Aaron's going to have more time. It is because that defense for the Packers has been so goddamn good recently.
They have been better.
They just pitched a shutout. I think they haven't allowed a touchdown on like 17, 18 drives or some crazy shit. Now the Vikings are.
They played the Seahawks last week.
That's true. The Vikings are a pretty good team. I think the Packers get this dub because their defense has been playing so goddamn good. I see this as a close game, though. I got the Packers winning by 3. So
that's the thing is the Vikings, they tend to play these close games, the ones that go down to the end. They've had multiple overtimes this year.
Yes,
it happens, but I think this is one of those
that have
breakaways.
In games that have been decided by 4 points or less, the Vikings have been really bad this year. And that's why I'm on the Packers, because when I bet this, I was Packers minus 2.5. So Vegas is expecting a close game. The Vikings haven't been good in close games. The defense for the Packers has been really good recently. So I got the Packers on the minus 2.5.
And I completely understand that. I do. But whether it's the homer in me or whatnot, I don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
Vikings by 1 million.
There we go. Let's toss some hyperbole up in there.
Patrick Peterson is back this week. He's been alluding to it. He's back this week. So we've got our best cornerback back out there. He's going to be shadowing probably Devontae the whole game. Harrison Smith, he's back this week. All right. In his stead, Cameron Bynum, a rookie that we took late in this draft this year, he's a converted cornerback into safety. We thought that he's a project or something like that with the potential to be a backup cornerback for years to come.
Yeah, that's a depth guy.
He is the second rated safety in PFF rankings for the year after 2 weeks of playing. Which is really surprising.
Well, it's a small sample size, but it's a pretty good place to fucking be.
He's done very well versus Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert.
See, and I love PFF's ratings. I know a lot of people don't like PFF. They think they're bullshit. They're
good with context.
Yes.
They do make mistakes, but they're good with context. And so I don't give a ton of credibility to them without the context. Bynum has looked well beyond what I ever expected him to be at his peak in his career so far in these 2 games. He's looked real good. But we got him. They're talking about mixing in 3 safety sets because he has played so well. We've got Peterson back. That helps a little bit of our depth at that defensive back spot, which is the biggest weakness on our team.
Yeah.
And the Packers have Devontae Adams.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have Lazard back. Lazard has been a decent number 2. I mean, he's not a top-tier number 2 by any means, but he's been a decent number 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think having Aaron Jones out does hurt, and I think that's why this game's going to be very, very fucking close. I mean, I could see I could see the Vikings.
The line being -1 because we have the Packers number at US Bank Stadium and getting defensive players back. I think that's why it pushes it closer. Plus, it's always safe to just say these lines for Vikings games should be close because all their games have been close this year, minus when we played Seattle. And I think that this is just a big emotional game. It's coming off of a win where we got to see what our offense can do when we open it up a little bit more, and that they're going to feed into that a little bit more. I think that's why the Vikings are going to go ahead and dominate this game. It's if they want to have any chance at a playoff run, wild card at this point, this is it. The Packers only winning by 17 against Seattle last week, I was fucking blown away. I thought they should have won by a lot more.
Yeah,
to be completely honest. because Seattle's not a good team.
No.
Russell Wilson or not. And for Russell Wilson to not put up any points is real surprising. We can put up points against this Packers defense. The Vikings can put up points against this Packers defense. If the Vikings offense does not score on their first drive, we will win this game. When we score on our first drive, we normally peter off towards the end of the game. In games when we don't win or don't score on that first drive, they've done very well. So again, I don't give a shit what anyone says. It's a homer pick. I understand why people are going to pick the Packers.
Well, Vegas thinks this game's close. Vegas thinks this game is very close. The line has moved to -1.5. I got it at 2.5. So it's moving even closer.
Teams that we have mutually played, like the Bengals and stuff like that, games have gone late. They've gone overtime and stuff like that. I think that the teams are comparable in talent in certain aspects. But I think that we're starting to hit our stride a little bit more. And the Packers are
they're in a little bit of a lull,
in this
maybe.
space.
Yeah.